good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're joining us, welcome. This is the Appreciative Recovery Show. We believe that curiosity, self-compassion, and connection are foundational values that, if cultivated on a daily basis, make any path toward wellness filled with joy and wonder. My name is Jodi Knox, and I am the host of this show. We have a very special guest today. I have literally known her all my life. She's a friend, a role model, and occasionally a mentor. She is a highly respected personal trainer, yogi, and massage therapist. She specializes in biomechanically based yoga and has personally helped me with many an injury over the years. She is my older sister, and I'm blessed to call her my friend, and I don't just say that because my mother will be watching. Her name is Jodi Knox. Welcome, Jodi.
Thank you, Kelly.
I'm so glad that you could join us today.
Happy to be here.
Tell our audience just a little bit about yourself and your work, and maybe explain a little bit about what a specialty in biomechanical yoga is.
So I started out in the fitness field as an exercise physiologist in cardiac rehab. And soon after that, I left the private sector and went to work as a personal trainer. And then I went to school to be a massage therapist. And as I did these things, they were working with each other, like pieces of a puzzle. And after massage school, I went to learn how to be a yoga teacher. And so while the schools are different, they all inform each other. And so biomechanical yoga is an intelligent alignment-based yoga that takes into account our bodies, which include muscles, bones, tendons, joints, and we align those joints, muscles, tendons, bones in such a way that it's safe and efficient for us to stretch open, to allow the things that need to happen inside our body effectively happen well. Mm-hmm. So it's safe. You engage your muscles to extend out, to stretch out, to open. So you're not hanging on tendons. You're aligning muscles in the joint in a safe way.
Mm-hmm. So how does someone shows up for their first yoga class? How do they know that they're doing it correctly?
So if someone comes for their first yoga class, we start with the basics, and oftentimes even if people come from having done yoga for a while but not an alignment-based yoga, there's a really good chance that they're doing some things incorrectly and or heading towards a slippery slope where they might injure themselves because they don't have the attention to detail to stretch open the body. So when people come for yoga, you start at the beginning, and you start at the foundation and help them learn how to engage their muscles and move in a healthy fashion.
Mm-hmm. Would you suggest that when someone is first starting out yoga that they start with a basics class?
I would.
Yeah.
A lot of yoga studios these days are subscribing to the idea that just come to class. I mean, unless it's an advanced class, just come to class and you'll catch up. But really what you'll catch up with is a movement through different postures that doesn't really give you the most. You know, in the busy world, when you're taking an hour and a half out of your day and using it, you want to get the most return. So I would suggest that a big basics class is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or even a one-on-one class. I've done that before. That was very helpful.
Yes, private. It's just amazing how much because it's a new language. I mean, while I teach a yoga class, I'll talk about move your inner thighs back, move your pubic bone down, swing your tail between your legs, all these words that, people, you just, one-on-one, you can help people be more comfortable with the terminology, with moving their body, usually against the grain, right? Like we're sitting here now and our inner thighs are spinning out. And then therefore that's why when we come to class, we want to spin them back, to open them up, to make space. We're closing down right now. But to get that point across to people, one-on-one is the best way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it can happen in a class.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about what people can afford.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Because yoga can be costly.
It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when people will be watching this, it'll be the new year.
Okay.
Probably the first, second week.
Wow.
Third week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people make goals or New Year resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
See, I haven't called them resolutions in so long, almost forgot the name, but New Year's resolutions. Someone's choosing between yoga and the gym. They want to get fit, is their purpose. What would you tell them?
If they can find an alignment-based strength yoga class, then I would say take that class, because what you'll be doing in that class is stretching and getting strong at the same time. So again, it's a sale, it's a twofer, right? So, but it's important to find an alignment-based strength-building class, and they're available on schedules.
So is that what, if I'm looking at a yoga schedule, will it say those words?
Hopefully, most will say alignment if that's the focus. It might not always say strength, but alignment is a good place to start.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So someone says, okay, I'm going to go to yoga because I want to get fit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've talked about this before, but let's talk a little bit about the bonus that happens with that.
The bonus?
The bonus, you think you're going to get fit, but what actually happens?
It's funny because I taught on that this morning. I taught 3 classes this morning, and in my classes I talked about the bonus and that how I don't like to talk about it. Instead, I like new people to come, be intrigued, and keep coming back. And then you can tell me about the bonus, right?
Yeah.
So the proof is in the pudding, but I'll tell you about the bonus. The bonus is that, and I'll give you examples. People, a 70-year-old gentleman retired, came to a class, and he was doing yoga maybe 3-4 months, and he said to me, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting more flexible and stronger, but I feel better. I'm not in my head so much, and it's funny because people, it sort of bites them in the rear, and they're like, hey, what's happening? I'm happier, and so that's the bonus.
Yeah. How is yoga and meditation similar, and how are they different? Because what you were just saying, you can benefit like from meditation as well.
Mm-hmm. So meditation, by definition, is concentrating on something, correct?
Correct. Concentrating
on something so that your mind can rest. If you focus on one thing alone, then the rest will fall. The rest of the mind, jargon, monkey mind will fall away. And so in an alignment-based yoga, we're constantly asking you to have your mind focused on your body. I often say, people have Maseratis, and they get in and they know what they do, and they know how fast they go, and they know how fabulous they are. And here you are in this priceless Maserati, your body, and you don't know how it works. You don't know how you feel best. You don't know how to make space. And so let's start paying attention. Let's embody our bodies. Let's make the meditation about bringing our mind into our body as we move through the postures. And yoga is a moving meditation, similar to walking meditation.
Mm-hmm. 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 So you're making me think about paying attention to the body
Mm-hmm.
and that which we ingest for fuel for the body, so food and water and other types of beverages. And I know nutrition isn't your specialty, but talk to us a little bit about yoga and what we eat.
So not a lot of yoga, but postures involve twisting
Mm-hmm.
from here to here. And so that's where we digest what we eat. If in fact we have a hard time digesting something, we're going to have a hard time in yoga, in twisting maybe that day. So yoga is a great place to go to learn where you may have problems with nutrition. I mean, so you want to eat healthy, for sure. But again, it's about self-inquiry. It's about noticing, hey, I went to a yoga class the other day and I had a huge bagel and maybe some peanut butter on it before a class, and I wasn't moving because I was, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about self-inquiry and learning what works best for you, and, drinking enough water.
Right, right. And paying attention.
Paying attention. Yoga brings you into your body. You really cannot go to a yoga class and not be reminded that you're living in this body, which you can go through many, many days of your life just running around and never stop and think about who or what it is that's carrying you around.
Sure, not that I've ever experienced that before. So you spoke about self-inquiry, which is the curiosity piece of this Appreciative Recovery project. And the other pieces are self-compassion and connection. Let's talk a little bit about how yoga can cultivate those things.
Well, self-compassion is a big part. When you come to a yoga class, you have to start where you are. Some people tell me I can't do yoga because I'm too stiff. And yes, you can. And that's how you start to become not so stiff. But the thing is, you have to have compassion for yourself. You have to accept that I'm stiff. But maybe if I try this thing called yoga, I don't have to always be stiff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then as you move through your yoga journey, countless times over and over again, you'll need to have compassion for yourself on any given day. You might not be able to get into a posture, but you shouldn't leave the class upset. It's just where you're at today, and you move on and you come back the next time.
So no one should feel bad taking child's pose.
Absolutely not, and that's always an option given in my class and other classes, that you take child's pose.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, though, sometimes child's pose isn't comfortable for new people because they're so stiff, they can't get back there. So that's another part of self-compassion, is asking for what you need in class. There are so many props, blankets, bolsters. The teacher can help you and set you up in such a way where you can be comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's better to stay in class than to leave.
Right. You're making me think yoga can be humbling. I mean, it's happened to me. Mm-hmm. And when I have to use a block, when yesterday I didn't have to, or when I choose to use a block. I mean, I can go one of two ways: be mad at myself for using the block and not being as limber as I was yesterday, or I can just use the block and let it all go. But how do you let it go?
I share a lot with classes about the props and where they came from. BKS Iyengar, a famous yogi from India who was one of the folks responsible for bringing yoga here, he's the one who came up with these blocks, blankets, bolsters, and he was a really sickly young guy. And his yoga teacher in India sent him off to a hospital to teach his yoga. I'm pretty sure his yoga teacher wanted him to fail, but he didn't fail. Instead, he found a way. He found a way, not only for himself, but so that today, here in America, in Gloucester, you can go into a studio and there are blocks, bolsters, blankets. Why? So that if for some reason you're not feeling well, you can bring yourself into the pose with the blocks or bolsters so that you have a chance to open up and then feel well again. Mm-hmm. So no one should go home to feel worse and worse and worse and worse. Instead, you know, it's self-compassion. I mean, a guy was sent to fail and he found a way to succeed. And he passed away a few years ago, and at I think the age of 92, 93, and before he passed away, his practice was a half-hour headstand. So he did pretty good with yoga throughout his life by using these props. So I think about that, mm-hmm. you know, and that's mm-hmm. what I share with students. Come on, this guy, and also you can go into a hospital and help people get well with bolsters and blocks. I mean, that's the thing about accepting where you are mm-hmm. and allowing the yoga to help you heal, to help you get better. Mm-hmm. But you have to be willing to accept where you are so that you can move ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about connection. I know you have a great yoga community that you know is the heart of pretty much who you are, right? Mm-hmm. And so how does that all come together when you start doing yoga on a regular basis? And
it's so heartwarming. It's so wonderful. My yoga community, we call it a kula. It's a group of like-minded spiritual seekers supporting each other, mm-hmm. you know. And so that's a group of teachers. But the interesting thing is that as a teacher, coming out of that, feeling that support for myself, I can go into a place and teach and foster that. And it doesn't take a lot. It just takes actually the lessons of what my teacher teaches and how she brings us together, and then going in front of another group of folks and sharing that with them. Mm-hmm. And right now I teach all of my yoga classes at a private country club, and they're such a community, the yoga classes, and I always kid them, you know, you're a community within a community. And it's just lovely. It's this whole thing about you go to yoga to get stretched out to feel better. You don't go to feel better. You go to get stretched out, but then you feel better, and then you talk to someone else who the same thing happened to, and now you have this in common. And it just grows and grows and grows. And so, hey, you know, if you're at the country club and you're out to dinner, hey, there's your cool at the other table. You know, there's your buddy from yoga. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your teacher and the work?
Sure. I just got home from spending, I guess it was 6 days with my yoga teacher, Amy Ippoliti, and with our Kula. The name of her school is 90 Monkeys. And monkeys comes from the yoga philosophical god Hanuman, who we often, the type of yoga that I teach, we often theme stories through our class that help uplift and help you get into the postures. And so Hanuman is a monkey god that I might talk about during class. We spent 6 days together listening to philosophy. Amy was teaching us about different tantric philosophy with the gods and goddesses, and the camaraderie, the strength, the love that grew over the week of, spending 24/7 pretty much with people, eating, contemplating, going up into postures, crying, laughing, failing, succeeding. That's the thing, is that a community like this is compassionate, so it can hold you, and then therefore you can be compassionate with yourself. I'm high still from being away with them. I hope it lasts a while.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So you can bring that compassion. You were saying this a little bit earlier, similar. You can bring that compassion back with you and offer it to your yoga classes, to the folks that come and practice with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know one more thing we can talk about. You had said to me, I believe yesterday, that yoga takes courage.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
So, yoga is not ordinary. Like I was saying earlier, there's going to be new language. There's going to be yoga classes are going to ask you to think about things in a different way. Yoga classes are going to ask you to think about things that you don't think about, like compassion. Yoga is going to ask you to slow down, get off the merry-go-round, breathe. And it's not always easy when we do that. We don't take time to process. And when you slow down and you start to breathe and stretch, we hold tension in our bodies because it's like something that happened. It's like maybe the person who cut you off in traffic the other day. Maybe your mother said something to you that hurt you. Maybe, just all down the line to even bigger things. And so you have tension. And so coming to yoga, you're going to sit, you're going to stretch, you're going to poke and prod at your body. And so it takes courage to come, first of all, because it's a little different. It's not a fitness class. It's a little different. But then it takes courage to keep coming back, because the teacher is going to be asking you to be curious about yourself, to question why you think that way, to question what comes up in your mind, to maybe not react to everything that comes up into your mind, to maybe start understanding that you don't have to believe everything that your mind tells you. So it takes courage, because this inquiry, this depth of work that can grow out of yoga, it's very rewarding, but it's not always easy.
So many a tear can be shed after a yoga class, or even during a yoga class.
During a yoga class.
Sure, sure.
There's such thing as an emotional release. I experienced one the first couple of years doing yoga in what's called camel, which is a back bend. And I just started sobbing. And afterwards, I talked to the teacher about it, which is a wonderful thing to do if you can share with your teacher that, you know, this is what happened. And the teacher assured me that, you know, it's okay, it happens. And, you know, you can contemplate on it, you can think about if maybe something comes to mind, but really, it was an energy that you had here, and you let it go.
And that's a beautiful thing.
And that's a beautiful thing.
And that's a beautiful place to end.
Good.
Good. So thank you so much for joining us today. Well, me and us. And I want to thank you for watching the show. If you'd like to learn more about the Appreciative Recovery Project, you can go to www.appreciativerecovery.org. Did you want to share any websites or information?
AmyIpoliti.com and also 90monkeys.com. 90monkeys.com is a school of yoga if anyone's interested in being a yoga teacher, or if you'd like to read about alignment-based yoga. And yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah.
And you and I are going to head off to a yoga class tonight.
We are.
So, yeah.
It's exciting, yeah.
So, again, thank you for joining us.